Welcome to the second video in the executable formats and toolchains subtopic, one of the many topics we will cover in the practical kernel theory series. The last time we discussed executable formats and went through the technical details of the three most commonly used formats, and our intention was to enable you, as a future kernel programmer, to make an informed choice when deciding which executable format you wish to use for your own kernel. Well, technical considerations are important, but there are also legal factors to consider when choosing an executable format. In particular, the PE format and possibly also the Mach-o format have legal constraints which are likely to have an impact on your decision. The ELF format, as we mentioned in the last video, is an open standard which has no legal limitations on its use and adoption, and this is one of the more significant reasons why it is the most commonly adopted and used format. First, we'll discuss the PE format's legal constraints. So as we mentioned in the last video, PE is the intellectual property of Microsoft Corporation. The specification for PE and for the COF formats belong to Microsoft. Since they own the PE format, since Microsoft owns the PE format, they have the exclusive rights to produce PE binaries. They will usually, however, grant licenses to use the PE formats to other parties for free, but only for specific purposes. It's easier to explain this if I just read out the licensing terms. So, open quotation. Microsoft will grant a royalty-free license under reasonable and non-discriminatory terms and conditions to any Microsoft patent claims that Microsoft deems necessary for the limited purpose of implementing and complying with the required portions of this specification. This specification here is the PE format specification. Only in the software development tools known as compilers, linkers, and assemblers targeting Microsoft Windows. Close quotation. In plain English, that means that you can write a compiler, linker, an assembler, a debugger, or other such software that targets Microsoft Windows, which means that it will run on Windows or produce binaries that will themselves run on Windows. And those are the only things you are legally allowed to do with the PE format. That immediately removes the right for you to write a competing operating system kernel and format it as a PE binary. You can't write a kernel of your own and wrap it in the PE format legally. You can do it, but you will be in legal in legal limbo. And I do know that certain other projects exist which do use the PE format, such as the React OS project. Right? React OS is basically an attempt to clone Microsoft Windows and re-implement it from the ground up as an open source operating system. React OS has been under development for quite a while, and Microsoft has not acted against them as yet. But that doesn't mean that Microsoft doesn't have the ability to act against them. Huh? They are in a legal position of limbo. And another example is BEOS. BEOS doesn't really exist anymore. That should actually be the Haiku OS, which is an attempt to rebuild the BEOS. And, Haiku and BE, they both use the PE format. Again, all of these projects, Haiku, BEOS, and React OS, they are all using PE at their own risk. The license does not explicitly allow them to do so. In other words, if you choose to use PE for your kernel's executable format, you do so at the mercy of Microsoft's caprice, right? They can choose to sue you at any time. You'll find on the slides here some links to the licensing agreement and in the description below. So should you choose to use PE for your kernel, you will be making an informed choice. That's the end of this session on executable formats. Thank you very much. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you think that this series is useful to you. Feel free to also leave comments in the comment section below, and if you have questions, I may answer them depending on what they pertain to. Time is not necessarily highly available for me, but I will do my best to answer if I think questions are reasonably important. Thank you very much. Have a great day.